So please welcome Latham Thomas.
I love what you do, but you know that you're toxic.
Have a little dance off later. So here's the guide. It's beautiful with the environmental working group and Mama Glow, and we'll see if we have some sort of competition at the end to see who can take one home. So Latham, the first question I want to ask you, because we've talked about this. What do you think about the diversity in the functional and integrative medicine community?
Well, first of all, just thank you for having me. This is awesome. It's so great to see a group of people who are here on a night like this. It's amazing outside, so you could be anywhere else. So thanks for being here, and thanks for having me. But about the diversity, I think it's interesting. I remember years ago sort of feeling like we were all in a vacuum, and it was hard to find each other. And now with the advent of social media and all of the incredible platforms that people are using now to connect, we're finding each other, which is really interesting. I think that we're seeing that the playing field is changing. It used to seem to be like all men, and now there's a lot of women that are really coming to the forefront, and now people of color, I think, which is very important for people to see as well. So I'm excited for, I think, the new phase of what medicine and health looks like. And also, when we talk about diversity, I think that there's like a new shift where there's a little bit more of a dance between these sides where holistic thinking is being sort of delicately woven into the medical landscape in a way that I think is tolerable for people, but also that helps patients be more informed and empowered, and also creates a doctor-patient relationship that is less power over and power under, but more equalized.
Yeah, that's so true, and that's something that we've spoken about pretty consistently in the Functional Forum, is this change in doctor-patient relationship from patriarchy to mutual empowerment. I think that's a big part. So you've dedicated your whole life to empowering women in this birth process. What is it about toxicity and babies that gets you so riled up to spend, I don't know how many next few years of your life really on this?
Well, I was pregnant with my son, who's about to be 11 years old, and in that time, as a lot of people know, having a baby is the time that's really pivotal, where you really look at everything you're doing, from the foods you're eating to, like, if you're sleeping, oh my God, I'm worrying. Should I be worrying? Is that hurting the baby? Like, everything you consider. And that's why it's such an important capture for us, is because I want to help people, period. But this capture of an audience, you get to save 2 lives. So you get to help a mother change her lifestyle patterns and actually program her baby's cells for the future, for success. So if you are making tiny right actions every single day with your diet, avoiding certain toxins, which you talk about here, and also, your thoughts, and, engaging in powerful sort of community and feeling loved, like I think he was talking about earlier. These are all ways I think that we can sustain. And for me, I think, I just got so bothered by the fact that, the government doesn't regulate any of the chemicals that go into these non-foods, any of the products that are on the shelf. If you go to your cabinet, if you turn it over and you can't pronounce anything, if you have to research it, you probably shouldn't be putting it onto your body. Your skin's your largest organ. It eats everything. And all of that stuff goes into your bloodstream, but it also passes the placental barrier, which means that those toxins are in the umbilical cord and also pass through to the baby. And also we find that in breast milk, there's tons of toxins, So I was really upset that, our work was really focused around, nutrition and helping women, get fertile. And what I saw was, like, so many people, their diets were great. And I was like, oh my God, like, look what's in your cabinet, what's you're putting on your skin, what you're cleaning your home with, where you're living actually in the environment. And we had to really start working in that area. And it was great to have evidence-based research to back up like a lot of the claims. And with working with EWG, it was huge because, you know, they're like the largest and most effective environmental advocacy and research group like this in the country.
Yeah.
So
how did that come about? How did they get in touch with you to do this project?
I actually met the executive director, Heather White, at an event, at a dinner, and we just started talking about kids and babies, and it was like a natural fit. We started working, you know, our wheels started turning at that night, and we actually had a launch event on May 15th where we unveiled the guide, and we had a bunch of people from, you know, different areas and show up, including some people from our constituency, as well as people in the environmental health and doctors, midwives, and people of that nature as well, and people in beauty and all the areas that we cover, really, to share what we're doing. We really want to spread the guide everywhere. We want it in all the doctor's offices and all the, you know, any facilities that we can get it into, because we think it's so important. Ken Cook, who is the founder of the Environmental Working Group, was also at the event and shared his support for what we're doing as well at Mama Glow. So our job is really, as an organization, to bring the information and make it palatable and digestible for our constituency. And I think it's really important to make sure that people can get this, because it's information that's really hard to hear sometimes, I think, for people. They don't want to really talk about these things.
Yeah. Actually, that's a great point, because I remember in the very first functional forum, Dr. Brogan talking there about just the you know, practicalities of being in this world, and once you know that there's all these toxicities and bugs and so forth, now trying to act when you know that this world exists. You know, one of the things I think why I think this is particularly valuable is that, you know, I think it sometimes takes someone who's a little bit more involved in popular culture to be able to communicate things in a way that happens. I see this happening in New York right now. Like, natural medicine missed New York and went to the West Coast, and it became big there, but people in Kansas don't care what people in California are doing. They care what's happening in New York. And it seems like right now in New York, yourself and various other people are sort of reaching a critical mass in the popular culture, because you've been able to make this message digestible. Probably every doctor in this room knows about this and has known for a long time, but what do you think it's going to take to actually move the needle on this significantly?
That's a great question. I mean, I definitely think you hit it on the nose, though, with the messaging. I think packaging is everything, and how you articulate a message is very important to feel, you know, to see whose ears it falls upon, and whether or not they actually take that and are inspired but mobilized to do something after the fact. You know, what we do at Mama Glow is we're taking information that already exists, but also we created a methodology and a lexicon around a lifestyle. So it's not just telling people what to do, but also empowering people to live a life that's aligned with, like, being their best selves and optimal wellness. So I think everybody could agree that they want to feel great.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to feel tired or moody or have mood swings, or, you know, everyone wants to feel really good. We have a record number of people we've been able to get pregnant because of our methodology, and people who we've sustained really amazing pregnancies and had great births with us. So for us, it's a lot of word of mouth, and I think there's a lot of social proof. And when people go to a great doctor, like, you don't have to tell anybody that you're a great doctor. Patients come because they've had a great experience.
Yeah.
And similarly in our work, we find the same. But I think that a great tool for anybody in the field is to create content, package it really well so that people can spread it for you. So we have this, it's going to be on our website by Monday, but we have some, you know, copies that you can take. But to me, it's like a piece of, you know, you can read this on the subway and pass it along to somebody else. And really what's really going to tip things is more education. I think people know this, but they have to actually entrain it on a cellular level. Like, they really have to, like, get this in their systems, and it has to be visceral. And I think when things become meaningful to you is when you're experiencing them. You know, people talk about health and eat well, or they don't eat well at all, and then they get sick, and all of a sudden it becomes, interesting, this information,
Yeah.
right? Or similarly with pregnancy, it's like I know tons of people who are living their lives, and then all of a sudden they're pregnant, and they're like calling me, and
Yeah.
I was like, I was doing this all along. And they're like, I'm only interested now. So
Yeah.
I think that it just takes it. It has to. People have to see that this is happening around them, and that's why these things that you're doing are so great, because it's not just who's in this room or who's online, but after here, there's a ripple effect, because there's people who are sharing information that they got here, or passing a flyer or whatever. So I think that, whatever you can do to language something in a way that's palatable for people, that's an entry point. And then you can, I think it's always like good to lay it on with honey, like make it palatable for people, because nobody wants to hear it in a way that's really hard. I mean, we talk about maternal mortality and infant mortality a lot in our work, but we can't just come through the door with that message, right? We have to find a way to package it that makes it palatable for people.
Well, it's an interesting thing with functional medicine, because you're speaking to the functional medicine doctor community online and here in person. What role do you think, this is a group of doctors that understand toxicity as a driver of chronic disease. Right. What role does this network of doctors have to play in solving this problem?
I think we all have to, or you all, I should say, have to commit and make it a big part of your work to spread the message. I think, especially where people may not want to hear that they're living a toxic lifestyle. It's the lifestyle that causes the disease. So the lifestyle is the disease. It's not. It's nothing else other than that. I think, like he was saying, talking about the bugs and the food, and then the whatever, what was
toxins,
the
and
toxins,
the stress.
of course, and the stress. Like, these are factors that that we actually put into play in our lives. They're all choices, right?
Yeah.
So like how you live, how you respond to something, what you put in your mouth. These are all choices. And so one of the things that it seems like, in functional medicine is huge for, looking at diet right away. And then people, when they go to other doctors, they're like, well, my other doctor didn't say there was anything wrong with what I was eating. And so then they start to say, well, over here, like, these people must be weird because it couldn't be my food, right? Or it can't be stress. Like, it's not, how bad is stress? So I think that, through these, in these moments that you have with your patients, like, just going through it all. And I think when they start to see that there's that time, I mean, I know a lot of doctors don't have time, but like, in that time that you do have, making a meaningful impact by trying to, like, I guess, blanket the information that you can, so that people can take it in, and giving the literature. But again, like, packaging it really well so that it's digestible. I mean, there's tons of things we could have talked about. We picked 9, right? So 9 glow tips for your 9 months. And also we made it, as you'll see, like, that it's like, try these things. Like, here's the issue and try the things. So I'll just share what the 9 are. We first talk about some of toxic metals, neurotoxins like mercury and lead, fragrance, BPA, chemicals in food, harmful cleaning agents, toxic cosmetic ingredients, water contaminants, and flame retardants, fire retardants. And these are all huge things, that are like pervasive in our home, and in our environment.
Well, I just have to salute you on this, Latham, because this has got to the core of a couple of things that I've spent a lot of time doing. My first business was helping doctors to communicate their message more effectively, functional medicine, and I think that one of the things, it has to look like other things that look credible. There's all of this information out on the internet, but how are people getting it? So I really commend that. And then the first talk that we had back in February, for those of you who were there, where's Dr. Morris Beer? Attendance award over there. Dr. Beer's been at every functional forum. Do you remember on the first one I said, look, better to curate information for your patients than just tell them everything. You don't have a lot of time. Here's a very curatable piece of information for your patients. You can send it in an ebook, and they can get the information without you having to do all the talking. I really think this is going to be a game changer. I really appreciate you coming to the functional forum and sharing it, and keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Have a round of applause for Latham Thomas. Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.